Hi guys, I'm Andy. Welcome back to Backpacking UK. Hiking, backpacking and wild camping are your thing. Please hit that subscribe button because that's what this channel's all about. Right, today I'll be reviewing and showing you my lighttour sleeping pad. Now this has an R value of 5.8, which will take you right down into the deepest of winter, right down to minus 20 degrees C. It's a very clever mat that also looks very similar to some of its competitors. So this lighttour sleeping pad really meant to compete with the Thermarest NeoWear X-Therm and Sea to Some Extreme sleeping mats. However, this is substantially cheaper than those, and I'll show you in a minute. Uses a similar sort of technology. This has foil running through it between all the air pockets to trap in all that warmth and reflect it back up into your body. Now this specific version is a mummy style sleeping pad. They also do it in a rectangular sleeping pad too, which I should have bought. Now this is 183 centimeters long and 58 centimeters wide at its widest point. We'll come to that in a minute. So this insulated sleeping pad is 7 centimeters thick, so you've got a nice bit of comfort there. But I will say what I would suggest you do to it is have it pumped up nice and stiff. It reduces the noise levels and it fills up the sleeping bag fully, so you get the maximum width and the maximum length out of this inflatable sleeping mat too. Now one reason for getting this insulated sleeping mat was because it is tiny. It's really small. This is just 18 centimeters by 10 centimeters, but to give you an idea of size, this is like a standard can, 440 ml. It's not much bigger than that, and yet this will take you in the deepest of winter, and it's so small and so compact. Right, so let me show this lighttour sleeping pad. So you've got green on one side, silver on the other. The silver is the top side. It's got a decent valve on it with non-return valve. Like I say, I'm going to be using my little tiny pump on it, so I'll give it a go. So here we have the lighttour sleeping pad fully blown up. As you can see, you've got these nice little pockets of cushioned air, which really does work. It's quite a comfy sleeping pad, there's no doubt about that, and it does also work. I've been out in this in a couple of really cold nights and I haven't noticeably found my back or my front, because I'm a front sleeper or a back sleeper, haven't noticed that getting cold. So it is doing its job. I haven't tested it down to minus 20 degrees C, but I can tell you as a winter mat this definitely works. Now as you can see, when it's fully pumped up like this, it's not very noisy at all, which is really good. Where you do get a bit of noise with this sleeping pad is if you try and let some air out, make it a little bit more comfy, you start to get a little bit more noise. So there's a bit of a trade-off there. But one thing I will say is Mark and me absolutely hate the Sea to Summit Extreme mats. They're ridiculously noisy, they are. I wouldn't use one if someone gave one to me. And the Thermarest NeoWear X-Therm, that's a noisy mat as well. I know the latest version's not as noisy, but the old one was just shocking. So this mat, as far as I'm concerned, is nice and comfy. It's got a really high R rating, which really does help to keep you warm. It's got a tiny little pack size. This, I think I weighed it earlier, weighs 467 grams. So sub 500 grams for a deep winter sleeping mat is quite extraordinary. I've got to say that's really, really good. So it's looking like it's excellent value for money. It's a fraction of the cost as the top ones. It's not as noisy, but it also performs. And I've been on the Camperlist website and they've got a certification for that to prove those are values as well. Now, the downsides, I shouldn't have bought the sleeping mat. It was a bit silly. It's 58 centimeters wide at its widest point. Now I move about a bit at night and my legs were coming off the sleeping mat. So we should have bought the square one. But I mean, I think they've done a cracking job of making a very similar looking sleeping mat to some of the big brands, i.e. Thermarest. This costs £129. The sleeping pad that has an R rating of 3.5 is £95. If you go on their website, usually they've got some little deals on there, so you can probably get it cheaper than that too. But bearing in mind what the big brands cost, and the big brands do have their faults as well, I think this is looking really good value for money. But what I'll do, I'll put all the links in the description. If you've got any comments, stick them in the comments section and I'll try and get back to you. But I think this is a cracking bit of backpacking gear. So hopefully you like this review. Please check my other videos out. Hope to see you backpacking soon. Cheers.